Welcome back to Open House with Mark Siwiec and Corey James Moran, brought to you by the Mark Siwiec Team at Keller Williams Realty, a greater Rochester real estate podcast. This is episode 125, and look who's back. Hi, Mark.
Hey, bud. How are you?
How are you feeling?
I'm
recovered?
Better. Yeah, I'm about 95% of the way there.
Oh, still?
That was
really?
That was insane.
I got some updates from Ed, who thankfully filled in last week.
Yeah, I'm a little concerned about that.
What about? Probably speculating that he was poisoning you.
No. Our listenership, voting me off the island.
He did do a great job.
Yeah, he did a great job. Yeah, I'm a little fearful, but that's okay.
But you slept 15 hours straight and then woke up and you were like, I'm still feeling awful.
I slept for 15 and a half consecutive hours, and I could not get out of bed. I couldn't get out of bed. It was.
Oh, jeez.
The only thing I can ever compare it to is when I had COVID a few years ago. It was pretty bad, and a few people that I know have actually had the same thing.
There's some stuff going around, yeah.
Yeah, but then within 5 days, everybody like, okay, great, I'm back at it. So,
well, there you go.
How you doing? How are the kids? Are they excited?
Doing well, yeah. We're getting geared up for Christmas.
Yeah.
Recording now on Wednesday. Of course, Christmas is on Monday.
Yep.
And we've been leaning into the classics.
Ooh.
We've been watching like the original Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Okay. Yep.
Like the claymation.
Yeah. Right.
One.
Yeah.
And then I got interested into Frosty the Snowman as well.
Oh yeah, that's kind of creepy, but yeah.
They've never sat that still for that long.
Oh wow.
For Rudolph, anyways.
Yeah.
My son Mason, my 4-year-old, he is obsessed with the song.
Oh really?
Yeah, he literally has me play it on repeat as I'm driving him to school every single day.
Wow.
And although he is a purist, he likes the Gene Autry version versus the Burl Ives.
Wow.
Because I put it on this morning and I thought, well, usually we do Gene Autry, but I'll switch it up to Burl Ives because we just watched the movie last night, and we get into the very beginning. He goes, "Nope, wrong one."
Oh, funny. Oh, that's great. We saw Charlie Brown Christmas the other day.
Oh yeah,
which I love. I just love. But honestly, okay, so that thing came out like 50 some years ago.
Not quite holding up.
It's getting a little long in the tooth.
Yeah. Tighten that a little.
Yeah, it's real. Yeah. But I was glad to see it. I mean, if nothing else, what does hold up is the Vince Guaraldi score. I mean,
of course,
that's just classic.
I've been hearing that on the radio quite a bit, and then you got to blast it every time.
Oh my God, yeah. Anyway.
Are you feeling in the Christmas spirit? I mean, really?
But I was here until 7 o'clock last night. I mean, I
don't have time for the Christmas spirit.
This is insane. This is insane. I've got 2 listing appointments today. I had 1 yesterday. I mean, like this is just nuts. So
is Duffy more importantly feeling the Christmas spirit?
Well, I mean that's all that really matters because so.
Well, this is the first Christmas in your new house.
Yeah. So the place is looking amazing. I mean, we got about 100 people coming over to the house on Friday, and I just left the house, and furniture has been moved, and the bar has been set up, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah.
How about the tree?
We got 2 this year. So
nice.
Tree looks great.
Did he do his tradition?
Yeah. So for those who don't know, it's an edible tree. Everything on the tree more or less is edible. So it's sliced oranges and sliced apples and candy canes and homemade gingerbread. The only thing that's not edible, he actually has to take it out once a week and then replace it with this baby breath that he puts in there.
Oh, okay.
That looks sort of like snow. But after about a week, it goes brown. So he has to
don't want
replace
that.
it. Yeah. So it's looking good. So you'll see it. You'll see both trees on Friday. We look
Looking
forward
forward to it very much. Yes. Yeah. Awesome. All right. I want to dive into a little bit of real estate chat here. I mean, not a ton going on. I mean, most of the news broke last week when you weren't here.
Oh, yeah.
Do you want to touch on any of that? Give any thoughts before we give kind of the latest? I mean, were we expecting that big of a drop for mortgage interest rates?
No, it was really interesting that Jerome Powell makes his announcement at 2:30 last Wednesday afternoon, and everybody knows that interest rates are going to go down, and everybody's assuming that they're going to come in at 7 or just a little bit below. Nobody was anticipating that it was going to come in at 6.64%, I think is what happened.
Yeah, 6.62 if I remember.
I think it dropped the following day to 6.62, but the immediate aftermath was 6.64. It was one of the largest drops in mortgage rates ever recorded. It was insane. And what's also really interesting is that we are now 2 months beyond when it is, or almost 2 months to the day, when it is that interest rates or mortgage rates started to come down. So they were a little bit above 8 on the 19th of October. They are now at 6.65, I think is what I saw yesterday or last night. But every week for this past 6 weeks, the number of mortgage applications filed for new home purchases has increased every week for the past 6 weeks. Yeah. So I think this bodes well for a very, very, very strong start to the new year.
Well, good, because we've got a bunch of properties to sell.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
Let's get the update on the numbers here in terms of current active listings in Monroe County. We're at 346.
Okay.
That's down from 380.
Okay.
Again, to be expected. In the 6 county region, we are down to 663 from 717 last week.
Okay.
Properties that are under contract and pending in Monroe County, we're at 824. That is down as well from 856. In the 6 county region, we're at 1269, down from 1319. Again, that's the one thing I think throughout the year that has made the most sense in terms of just where those numbers are sitting. And then mortgage interest rates. So currently sitting at 6.64% today.
Oh, okay.
So slightly up from last week at the 6.62 when we did the podcast last. 15 years at 6.13%. That's down a little from 6.15. And then the adjustable rate is at 6.24, and that's flat from where it was last week. So all pretty interesting news here in terms of the interest rates. Mortgage News Daily had a great headline about mortgage rates sharply going sideways.
Yeah. So.
Which is, I mean, again, it's very much against what we have been seeing for quite a bit of time here. It's been pretty stable for the past, 3 days? There's been very little fluctuation.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot of economic news that's going on, obviously. This Friday, PCE is going to be reported. PCE, for those who don't know, it's the personal consumption expenditures. It's the Federal Reserve's favorite gauge or metric. When it is, most people look at CPI, the Consumer Price Index. The Fed looks at PCE, which is very similar, but it strips out volatility. Volatility specifically associated with fuel prices and with food. And actually, fuel prices are starting to go up a little bit.
I did see that, yeah.
Yeah, so the Houthis, who are associated with Hamas, they're Iranian-backed militants. They are actually beginning to act as pirates, and they're making trade in the Red Sea and the Suez Canal very, very dangerous right now.
Okay.
So all of a sudden, you've got a lot of, whether it's British Petroleum or anybody who has to ship through that area, they are now taking more circuitous routes in order to protect their ships and their investments and their people, obviously. So that is causing, a lot of what we've experienced over the course of the past year and a half in terms of inflation coming down from 9% down to 3.6 or whatever we're at right now, 3.4. A lot of that has come obviously as a result of what's going on with the Fed, but a lot of it also can be attributed to the fact that supply chain snarls have become untangled.
Sure, compared to what we experienced through the pandemic and post-pandemic.
Exactly. This is sending up over the course of the past few days some signals, some red flares, some concerns about where things are headed. So gas prices are on their way up, and hopefully this will be contained, and hopefully these shipping lanes will be opened once again sometime soon.
There's also been a little backtracking from the Fed in terms of what Jerome Powell said, and we talked about last week, where we could potentially expect, 3 rate drops next year?
Yeah.
Some of the other presidents saying, not so fast, maybe not.
Yeah, Raphael Bostic in particular, he's the president of the Federal Reserve Bank of Atlanta. So he and a couple of others have started to say that there is no urgency. I want to read here. There's no urgency in terms of lowering borrowing costs. So one of the other Federal Reserve presidents was stating that there probably won't be 3 or 4, as Jerome Powell stated last week. Maybe it'll only be 2, perhaps 3, and certainly no rate reductions coming from the Fed in the first 6 months of the year. A couple of things. One, I think that Friday's PCE is going to be very, very important. That will really help to provide some understanding and some direction as to where things are headed. 2, I think that people are getting way, way, way ahead of themselves. This is a data-driven Fed, as it should be. And so while we might not know what's going to go on in the next 3 to 6 months, the good news is that the the tone of the conversation is very, very different from that which we were experiencing 2 months ago.
Sure.
People are talking about rate reductions next year. So everybody agrees that there are going to be rate reductions. That's something that we weren't hearing 2 months ago. The question really is how many and when do they start and by how much. So
is it a little odd that the Fed isn't quite in lockstep on this? Usually, don't they, for the most part, kind of follow what Powell says?
There is that's a really great point. There is usually more of a lockstep, uniform sort of understanding, and I don't think it's because they're necessarily beholden to Jerome Powell. I think there really is genuine agreement on the part of the federal chair, the Federal Reserve presidents. But in this case, it is interesting to see that they are starting to come out and speaking their own mind and saying, maybe not so much.
Wondering if that maybe is a reaction to what we saw. And a bit of a pumping of the brakes, if you will.
It is definitely a pumping of the brakes. No two ways about it. It's also really interesting. I think your question and your point, I think, are really interesting. If you do hear of somebody, so these are not big names like Jerome Powell. These are smaller known individuals who are very, very powerful, but people traditionally, and if one of them is quoted in the Wall Street Journal or the Financial Times or something over the course of a week, it's like, oh, okay, so-and-so, has said, but to have three of them all within a 24, 36-hour period, all being quoted by news publications, that's kind of remarkable.
By design.
Yeah. So.
Residential real estate, things have slowed down a little bit. Well, not really for you. You just mentioned you've got a lot going on.
Jesus.
Not enough to celebrate Christmas even. Jeez.
I really am. Actually, for anybody listening, don't call me.
Wait until after the new year.
Yeah. So actually, I am really looking forward. So we got the party on Friday, and we got some friends coming over for dinner on Sunday. And then I love, one of my favorite weeks during the entire year is that period of time from Christmas Day to New Year's Eve, when Duffy and I will go down to our place in Keuka, and we just hang out for like 5 days, and do nothing. I mean, that is just the best. So we're getting some new software. So that's really, I think you've been playing with it, actually.
I have, It's cool. It is cool.
So I plan on spending a lot of, how much time do you think I'll need? Sorry, folks.
I got a
question here for Corey.
A couple hours for the training, probably.
Okay, very good.
It's not bad.
All right, very good. Anyway. Back to our program.
So again, there's not a ton going on residentially, so I thought I could bring up just a couple of things that I saw here. One was some real estate design trends to watch for in 2024.
Okay.
And this was from the NAR, National Association of Realtors.
Oh, yeah.
I know.
Yeah. Design arbiters. Yeah. We all turn, Architectural Digest, all the big designers turn to the NAR.
Just a couple of interesting things to point out. I'm not going to go through all of them, but smaller single-family homes and more townhomes are on the rise. It's more of a trend.
Okay.
It's kind of interesting.
Okay.
And again, homes shrinking in size is obviously a reverse from how things used to be.
Right.
It's kind of funny, especially here in Rochester, where there's so many homes that were built in the 1920s and 30s, and even before that, where you walk through and compare them to new builds now, just size-wise, the difference there.
Yeah.
But yeah, folks are looking to downgrade there. So the median single-family house is now 2,261 square feet.
Oh.
And here's the other part of that: bigger apartments are now a trend as well.
That makes a lot of sense, actually. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense to me because it's so difficult for first-time buyers in particular to find a house to buy.
Yep.
So there's a corollary to that. I was reading something just the other day. The travel industry is anticipating that this coming year, there's going to be a boom in travel. And travel stocks are predicting that their stocks are actually going to go up. Expedia, Airbnb, et cetera, because first-time home buyers can't actually purchase. They're now taking their down payment that they've been saving.
It's blowing it.
And they're just saying, you know what, if I can't buy into the American dream, I'm at least going to do something with this money, and I'm going to take a vacation. So, and then they're probably moving into these larger apartments that you just referenced.
Yeah, so the jump there, let's see, the average square footage, this is kind of crazy to think about. The average square footage for an apartment, 870 square feet before the pandemic, now closer to 1,000 square feet.
Yeah.
Which is still pretty tiny, but again, you got to factor in a lot of these major cities where they're the size of a shoebox.
Yeah.
A couple other things that were kind of interesting. One of the trends they talked about is natural native landscaping as a priority.
Okay.
Whether in communities or private backyards. homeowners want to conserve the ecosystems that are there.
Oh,
So
wow.
it kind of goes along with the thought right now. And this was the most interesting. New neutrals for the exterior of homes, even darker neutrals like midnight blue, charcoal gray, and true black
Oh,
for drama.
wow, that's interesting. Did they mention peach fuzz?
They did not mention peach fuzz.
No.
No, did not mention peach fuzz.
Peach fuzz, for those who are dying to know.
Is that the color of the year?
Yeah, Pantone's color of the year, which came out about 10 days ago, 2 weeks ago. We almost posted it to Facebook and our social media. I was like, that is just, it's just ugly.
They've missed the last few years.
Peach, I mean, I read somebody
Was
said,
this AI generated again?
yeah, it might as well have been. Somebody said, I wish I could claim ownership. It sounds like a '90s boy, the name for a '90s boy band. So that is very funny.
Oh, phenomenal!
But have you seen this color?
I saw an article about it.
Yeah, it's.
Where do you put that exactly?
Right. Yeah.
I think at this point they've run out of colors. Now it's just all right. Well, we got to pick this one.
Yeah,
it's this one's turn.
Yeah, I'm bracing for the return of mauve, which is really big back in the '80s. Were you even aware of that? No,
I haven't seen much mauve.
And there was this crazy trend back in like the late '80s. Everything that was porcelain that was going into bathrooms, bathtubs, toilets, bidets, they were all mauve. It was really. It lasted like 3 years, but these people who had installed this shit. They were living with it for 15, 20 years. Really bad.
That's one of the points they brought up in the article of be careful with these trends because they don't tend to last.
Yeah.
So,
I was talking about the fact go with the expensive stuff. Make it neutral. You know, toilets, sinks, bathtubs, shower enclosures, tile, white. You can't go back simple. And then if you want to get crazy, then go ahead and paint the walls of your bathroom peach fuzz, or
there you go,
or midnight blue,
midnight blue,
yeah, whatever, yeah. So,
let's see some interesting headlines in terms of the commercial real estate market. I mean that obviously has taken quite a hit, and a research firm did a study, and they're now expecting commercial real estate to suffer a $480 billion loss, and that's on top of the $590 billion loss in 2023.
Yeah.
And I think what's going to be something to really watch is how this is going to impact a lot of banks. There's nearly 400 banks that could be in trouble if interest rates stay high and property values remain low, because a lot of these companies that own all this commercial real estate are going to default on it.
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard some stories from some friends of companies that are just giving it back. Don't even want to deal with this. Give it back.
Yep. Yeah. Deed in lieu of foreclosure. There's a real opportunity here, and it's a difficult opportunity, but there is an opportunity. There's not enough residents. We're 4 million units shy of how many new residential units should be built every single year. We're 4 million shy, and yet you've got all these commercial structures that are sitting vacant and empty, all these office buildings. The obvious pivot is take all those commercial structures and go ahead and turn them into convert them into residential structures.
Which we've seen a little bit already. Yeah,
we're starting, but not nearly enough. I mean, when you're talking about a $480-some billion loss here, but it's not an easy conversion, and you would think that more and more municipalities would do what Boston had done. I think we talked about this about 6 months ago, which is just providing a lot of tax credits. The industrial development agencies and other entities which help developers create these projects that are money losing initially. They should just hard pivot and convert these things quickly.
I mean, when you look at some of the numbers, so the demand for office space keeps plummeting. Vacancy rates in the third quarter were 20%.
Wow.
And then in terms of value, they've fallen by 20% from early 2022 to late this year, and they're expecting another 5 to 15% drop next year as well. So the need is there to do something with them.
I mean, it really is a tale of two cities. I mean, you compare residential versus commercial. Residential apartment buildings, anything having to do with residential rental is just somebody reached out to me the other day and asked locally how much. Oh, it was somebody at RIT actually. How much did rent increase 2 years ago? And then how much did rent increase this past year for anybody who's renting in the city of Rochester or the environs? I calculated 17% increase in rent 2 years ago.
Yep.
13%
Really?
past 12 months. That's a 30% increase. So if somebody was paying $1,000 2 years ago, they're now paying $1,300. That's enormous. Compare that to what it is you just described, a 20% vacancy rate for a commercial. And there's another corollary to this, and I'll stop. But dear God, don't you think downtown Rochester could stand to have some of these empty and vacant structures converted into residential? It's ugly down there.
100%. I mean, yes, 100% could. And it's interesting with the rates. I had a candidate for a job that I was touring the other day who's currently living in New York City, and she was asking about what it would cost to live in some of these new apartment complexes. And when I told her the number, she said, "Oh, that's close to what I'm paying in New York City."
Oh my God.
She's paying $2,700 for a 1-bedroom.
Well, she must be out in Staten Island or something.
No, she's in Jamaica.
Okay. Well, there we go. Yeah.
But still,
yeah.
I mean, you would typically compare, and again, look at the property values, even what we've seen for single family homes compared to other spots in the country. Yeah. There's not that gigantic gap in terms of renting anymore.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
We've got some celebrity real estate to get to. Before that, though, how about just a quick note on. Please don't do this. Companies, please stop. Did you see this making the rounds?
No, what?
This was reported as true to start with. An Israeli real estate company was advertising beachfront homes in Gaza.
Oh, God.
And then it came out that apparently this was a joke.
Tell me when to start laughing.
Yeah, I mean, file this under the companies that have made the faux pas here in the States of, I think it was the mattress company. Do you remember this? No. It was their, quote, 9/11 sale, and they had created 2 towers of mattresses and pushed them,
And what? What did they do?
And pushed them over. Just completely,
Did the company go out of business?
Yeah, they got destroyed. Absolutely destroyed.
Jesus. No, I don't know. No.
But I don't know, maybe think these things through.
Wow. Hire Dixon Schwab, for God's sake.
Yes.
I think they know a thing or two about marketing.
Yeah. Yep, agreed. Absolutely. All right, you want to jump to a little celebrity real estate?
Yeah, what do we got?
All right, and I sent them to you if you want to take a peek here.
Okay, great.
We're going to start with Robert Pattinson.
Oh, okay.
We haven't heard a lot from him recently. He's been in some stuff, right? Was Batman his last
I believe
big
it was.
role?
Yeah. So, yeah.
He has quietly sold off his home with the expectation of having a child with his girlfriend.
Oh, there we go.
So...
Team Robert.
Yes, so it's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, nearly 2,000 square foot property.
Oh.
Some terracotta floors, beam ceilings. This is in LA, by the way.
Oh, that's nice.
It's decent. $2.2 million is what he purchased it for. And the work. Mark's looking at the artwork. Of course he is.
Love the artwork. I'll say, regardless of how nice or how bad some of these structures are that you pull every week.
Yeah. You can find something
across the board. They seem to have pretty decent art collections. Seriously.
Okay. There we go.
There we go. So, this is an article you stole from People Magazine. You just recently renewed your subscription, I would imagine.
Oh, of course, obviously. Yeah. I had to. I don't go to the newsstand anymore to get it, so I have to go online.
Okay.
The next one is I love this one. So Paul Newman's former Beverly Hills rental home just sold for $8 million. So the California compound is where he and his late wife. Well, obviously he's passed as well. They called their home for a brief period of time. 4-bedroom property hit the market for $7.99 million earlier this month. And some of the features, it's from 1937. It's a Beverly Hills estate on an acre or so, about 4,000 plus square feet. And the outdoor areas are what really blew me away. So they have a covered outdoor lounge with an outdoor fireplace, and it has the vines growing over it, which looks really cool.
Yep.
And then an elevated pool and spa above the house.
Wow.
So in the backyard, but elevated up.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah.
And then just on the interior, a lot of clean design. What do you think of the kitchen, Mark? The metallic blue. I was going back and forth on.
It's so funny. I was just looking at that. We were having a conversation just a moment ago about, go with neutral colors. This kitchen, all the cabinets are blue.
Like a metallic blue.
Yeah. So
I can't. I'm back and forth. I got to be honest.
No,
Not for you.
I mean, it looks fine today, but it'll be dropping $150,000
Sure.
in the next
Sure.
So,
All right.
but I gotta say, like, it's a nice house.
Yeah.
It's a nice house. But one of the things I love about this part of the conversation is looking at what a 4,000 square foot home here in Rochester on an acre with some beautiful hardscaping, some beautiful landscaping. What would that cost? So this house in Rochester, what do you think this costs?
$850.
Yeah, I'm
$9?
I'm going a little bit higher.
Okay, you're going over $1 million?
I'm at like 1.25, something like that.
Okay.
But nowhere near $8 million.
Well, of course not. Yeah.
That's just crazy.
And
that was from the New York Post, another one of your favorite publications.
And then the final one, we've actually talked about it before. Rod Stewart.
Oh, there we go.
You can just comment on what you're seeing. Just a little over the top, a little extra.
I mean, the only thing, so Rod Stewart in part is known for his raspy voice.
Yeah, sure.
And his sort of, spiky hair.
Yeah.
I say he gets rid of the spiky hair and just dons a powdered wig. I mean, this is, look at, like,
yeah,
Jesus. I mean,
we got a lot going on.
Louis XIV would feel very, very, very comfortable.
Yes, his English countryside estate built in Beverly Hills.
English, it reads more, honestly, this reads more French.
Okay, I can see that too.
Yeah.
Well, here's what's the most interesting part about this property. So we put in the market in June for $70 million. So that's probably when we originally talked about it. They've since pulled it off the market. And now relisted it early in December for $80 million. Quite a strategy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, then there's that. Nah. Can we get a buzzer in the coming year? We got to get a buzzer.
Okay, well, we'll work on a buzzer.
All right. We'll have somebody work on that. We need a buzzer.
So we're what? We're 1 for 3. 1 for 3 this week.
Because I would be pressing this buzzer very hard.
I feel like you would.
So, yeah. Do you like this? Do you like this one?
The last, no.
The
Rod Stewart's? No, it's gaudy.
Okay,
Absolutely
great.
terrible.
Yeah,
No, thank you. Absolutely
good.
not.
Right.
I was more interested in we're going to price it $10 million higher than the last time when you couldn't sell it.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, one thing we didn't talk about, announced this morning, so everybody knows that Mark Taubman, the president and CEO of the University of Rochester Medical Center, he announced his retirement a short while ago. It was announced a couple of hours ago that, as everybody in town was predicting, David Lenahan has been named his replacement to start in January. So,
okay, there we go.
Yeah, so that's actually very, very, very big news, and I think greeted warmly by everybody who's involved in the medical community. He's going to be a great steward of the hospital moving forward.
Well, fantastic stuff there.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else you want to touch on?
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
Yeah, hopefully
holidays.
There's a dusting of snow out there as we speak right now. I'm really hoping that it persists over the course of the next
that would be nice.
Days.
You didn't like it when it was 60 last week?
Actually, no, I loved it. But Christmas is a few days away.
Right.
So
it's time. It's time.
The white looks really, really great. And come Tuesday, back to 60.
All right. Well, we will check in with you next week. Have a wonderful Christmas. We'll talk to you soon.